God. Holy shit! Wait, how big is the fucking
You
map?
can't see it through the camera, but my eyes are already tearing up.
So beautiful.
Breath of the Wild.
It's hard to imagine Zelda ever going back to a linear format. Understandable too. I mean, Breath of the Wild changed the game forever. After years of getting mostly straight-line progressions, we've finally reached that point where there's an excess of open-world, freedom-of-gameplay titles. It's great. Breath of the Wild 2 is on the horizon, and I couldn't be more excited. But after that, I want another Wind Waker. And I don't mean I want a sequel. I want a Zelda that did what Wind Waker did. It's kind of the inverse of Breath of the Wild. Instead of giving you a world to explore right off the bat, it's bogged down with text boxes, tutorials, characters telling you exactly what you have to do to progress. It takes over an hour just to get to the overworld, and even then you can't stray from the path until after the first 2 dungeons. Plus, you can only tackle the dungeons in one set order, no deviating whatsoever. But those aren't the reasons I love Wind Waker. I love it for the story, the characters, David Jr., the atmosphere, all the things that feel secondary to the creative gameplay of Breath of the Wild. They're deliberately paced and presented to you with a specific vision in mind. It makes the journey so memorable. You still have tons of memorable moments in Bata, but you'll mostly be making those yourself, tailored to how you choose to play. It's possible to miss the story entirely. No one has the exact same experience, and there's something special about that. But there's also something special about the shared experience. Games like Ocarina, Majora's Mask, Wind Waker, Twilight Guy are embedded in my memory because of the way those worlds are curated. And nowhere is this better exemplified than in the music. Breath of the Wild's music is good, but it all kind of blends together. Is there any song that slaps harder than Gerudo Valley? I mean, you got the Super Guitar Bros over here making 30-minute medleys to the Ocarina soundtrack alone. Elden Ring gets tons of comparisons to Breath of the Wild because of its open world and options, even though they're 2 very different games. Strikes a nice balance of linearity and open world choice. But my personal favorite FromSoft games are still Bloodborne and Sekiro for their unique aesthetics, identities, and designs. People hate on Sekiro's only one way to play approach, but you have to give them credit for having a distinct vision. Bloodborne is so goddamn creative, I can't talk about that game without gushing about it for hours. We've used linearity as a disparaging term for so long in games since we had such an abundance. But now we're here, and I can see the benefits of a linear story. Uncharted is one franchise I've seen escape the "this should be an open world" criticism, mainly because it does what it sets out to do so well. No one cares about freedom of choice in that, because that's not what Uncharted is about. It's about playing an epic story, crazy ass set pieces, and lovable characters.
Christ almighty.
Just kidding.
Kinda what Zelda used to be. I don't want to see them throw out the old formula just because the new one is so revolutionary. They can do both, and I hope they do.
Perfectly balanced, this whole thing should be.